Institute and former U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs. He joins us live now from Washington, D.C. David, just give us your reading on what Rubio was saying there. A lot of information, but still no closer to a deal.
Yeah, that's right. He talked mostly about what we're doing, what the United States is doing in the Arabian or Peninsula, the Persian Gulf, about the operation or Project Freedom, the escort or moving of ships, the continued embargo, about the rationale why Iran should make a nuclear deal with the United States, but nothing about negotiations or getting any closer to wrapping this up.
Just on that point, a lot of rhetoric, David. I mean, he said they really shouldn't test the will of the United States and President Trump. They will lose. Lots of rhetoric, but very short on detail in terms of resolving this. You know, the Americans are calling this Project Freedom, and the Iranians have shot back and they say they're calling it Project Deadlock.
Yeah, I think there isn't much movement on the diplomatic front right now. There have been a couple proposals that the Iranians have sent in that obviously want to delay any discussion of the nuclear, basically end the U.S. blockade. Understandably, there's a lot of economic damage being done to Iran right now. But I think both Iran and the United States believe that they have more leverage and are in a better position to wait this out. And so we're not getting anywhere on negotiations, and it's a bit of a stalemate. But there's clearly growing frustration in Washington about this situation.
And it's interesting to note as well, he used the phrase a defensive operation. He used that phrase several times in a short space of time. Rubio said, if we are fired on, we will respond with lethal efficiency. So making it clear that he believes the United States is not the aggressor here in the Strait of Hormuz, that they are simply responding to what they're seeing coming from the Iranians. He also pointed out that they have destroyed 7 Iranian fast boats in the Strait of Hormuz. But again, I go back to my initial point, David, you know, in terms of reaching an agreement or some sort of a truce here, no detail whatsoever.
Yes, in fact, I believe some U.S. naval vessels were shot at. United States returned fire, and we heard this morning from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs that this didn't rise to the level of something that should end the ceasefire. And so there perhaps is less fire, but there's still certainly violence and war going on at some level. I don't know why Rubio is so adamant about defensive operations. Indeed, they are defensive operations. I don't know if that's related to some of the pressure that that the administration is getting from Congress now that we're 60 days past the deadline for going to Congress and seeking authorization for this deployment.
He used a phrase as well, David, talking about the Strait of Hormuz and Iran's blockade of it. He said it is criminal, desperate and destructive. And he pointed out that a quarter of the world's oil trade flows through the strait normally. And he said the regime cannot be allowed to dictate who uses it. It's a complete standoff, isn't it? And as long as it goes on, Iran will have the upper hand here.
Yeah, I mean, Rubio also called the Iranians pirates. There is no doubt that this is an international waterway. There should be freedom of navigation. The United States, in the first instance, cannot concede any point on that. This would, I think, undermine so much of the system that the world has worked through in modern history. To challenge that would be indeed quite problematic for the United States and the rest of the world. But yes, the economic bite of this closure, not only in terms of energy, but fertilizer and gas and helium and other critical products. This is having a huge impact around the world, and the downstream impact on the cost of food, inflation, et cetera, will only go up. And so I think the administration would very much not want to avoid a resumption of the fighting and is looking to end this, but we are still in this very same situation we were a couple weeks ago, except there's a little bit more economic pressure on Iran, but they can withstand that for quite a while.
And just on that point, David, he said as well, the US holds all the cards. Listening to him and listening for detail, it was difficult to see what those cards are right now.
Yeah, the United States believes that the Iranians are running out of oil storage. If they run out in about 22 days or 20 days, they don't have anywhere to store the oil, either onshore or floating storage. They would have to shut down their production, which could foul the wells. And so I think the United States believes that's some sort of significant pressure, on basically Iran's economic future they're mortgaging right now. And still, this is, since 1979, a regime that has operated on basically a siege or war economy under sanction, willing to endure a great deal of punishment, not particularly concerned about the well-being of the population. And they don't seem willing to take a knee just yet.
David Schenker, Senior Fellow at the Washington Institute, thank you for unpicking that Marco Rubio news conference. Thank you.
Thank you.